The P87 form is your key to claiming tax relief on work-related expenses. If you're employed and spend your own money on job-related costs, you might be eligible for a tax rebate. The P87 form is how you ask HM Revenue and Customs to give you that money back. So when should you use a P87 form? You need to fill one out if you have work expenses that qualify for tax relief, and these expenses total less than £2,500 per year. If your expenses exceed this amount, you'll typically need to complete a self-assessment tax return instead. What kind of expenses can you claim on a P87? The list includes several common work-related costs. You can claim for washing or replacing your work uniform, a working from home allowance, travel costs to temporary workplaces, but not your regular commute. You can also claim for tools and equipment you need for your job, union and professional fees, and even accommodation and meal expenses for temporary work locations. Let's look at an example. Imagine a builder named Mr. Peters, who works at different construction sites across the UK. He uses his own car to travel to these temporary work locations and isn't reimbursed by his employer. In this case, Mr. Peters can use the P87 form to claim tax relief on his mileage costs. Now, how do you get your hands on a P87 form? The easiest way is to find it online on the official government.gov website. You can complete and submit it entirely online. If you prefer paper, you can also print the form and fill it out by hand. To complete a P87 form, you'll need some key information. This includes your national insurance number, your employer's pay tax reference number, your employee number, and your employer's address. If you're unsure about any of these details, you can usually find them using HMRC's downloadable app or your online personal tax account. It's important to note that from May 2022, HMRC made the P87 form mandatory for first-time expense claims. They typically reject claims not submitted on this form. How long does it take to process a P87 claim? For straightforward claims that don't require additional evidence, it can take between 4 to 12 weeks. However, if HMRC needs more information from you, it could take several months. HMRC usually asks for evidence to be provided with your P87 if you are claiming for a more complex expense, like mileage or tools. Basic claims for a uniform cleaning allowance, for example, usually don't require supporting evidence. Remember, the P87 form is specifically for employed taxpayers. If you're self-employed, you'll need to handle your expenses differently through your self-assessment tax return. Understanding how to use the P87 form correctly can help you reclaim the tax you're owed on your work expenses. While it might seem daunting at first, for many basic claims, the process should be straightforward. By keeping good records of your work-related expenses and using the P87 form when appropriate, you can ensure you're not paying more tax than necessary. You can find out more about tax rebates and tax calculators at www.taxrebateservices.co.uk. The content used in this video is intended for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute advice. We recommend that you do your own research on each subject and take advice from HMRC or a professional tax advisor.